What's happening? Welcome to the 61st episode of the Slapstream with Djordje, live from Slapsville. Uh, Thanks to all of you for the support, for being a Patreons, for donating via Venmo and PayPal, for buying Art of Slap based t shirts like this one here. If you didn't get it, make sure to do it. All of these links are in the description of the video. And the most important, thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button and slap that like. It's going to help me out with this YouTube algorithm that I'm trying to beat in order to prove the world that slap bass rules the world. Without further ado, I would like to introduce my today's guest, again, special guest, here in Slapsville, LAKSHMI Ramirez.
Hey,
What's happening?
Djordje?
How's it going, man?
Oh, good. I need to get that shirt. I need to get that shirt.
It's pretty cool t-shirt.
It is.
I'm really
Yeah.
happy how they turned out.
There you go.
How have you been? How are you surviving this whole pandemic, end of the world thing?
Actually, it's like I was able to learn a new thing. It's like I did a lot of like handyman stuff. I went
Oh,
into construction, but at the same time, yeah, it's like I have to keep practicing. Otherwise, you know how it is. Just a few weeks that you don't hold your base, your calluses will start coming back and blisters. So I made sure. Yeah,
make sure.
but
Are you practicing every day?
not every day.
No, okay.
At least twice a week. During the pandemic. Just like just simple like rudiments. You just keep the right hand, left hand scales and stuff like that.
Good. I'll ask you all about it because I have to get back to practicing. I've been kind of lazy. I mean, not really lazy. I've been really busy, so I didn't have a time,
Mhm.
so much time. But that's just an excuse.
Yeah.
But I plan to get back to it as soon as possible because I need my chops back. I have like
Yeah.
a few gigs coming up soon, and I want to be ready.
Yeah. True.
Um, I would like to present your whole career. As we talked earlier, we as bass players, especially slap bass players in the upright, we don't get a chance to um, tell our story that often.
Yeah.
So I want to change that. Well, that's
We're
why I
always in the
created the
back.
slap stream. And that's the reason for the length of the slap stream because we have this one chance.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
want to use it. So I'd like to start from the beginning. How did you become interested in music? How did you decide to play upright bass? Uh, have you played anything else before that? Stuff like that. Let's start early on, out of
Yeah.
the States.
So basically, my dad is a trumpet player. So I would say he did it like back in the 70s. They were doing a lot of like Tower of Power stuff like that, and then he went to the Navy. So I think music was in my blood in a way, and most of my it's like uncles, they were like conductors of Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra. My cousins, my aunts, they're like part of the orchestra. So I guess yeah, it was in my blood. But for me, actually discovering it when I was young, I used to play the percussions like congas and stuff like that because like I think that was the easiest instrument that you can pick up and then probably just keep on tapping and get the rhythm, and then I would play along to it's like we have this called we follow we do like some sort of like uh in Indian belief. It's like Hinduism. It's called Vaishnavism. So we have this thing called kirtan. So it's a congregation of like chanting like mantras and stuff, and we have like congas, guitars or whatever. So when I was young, as far as I can remember, I would just go to congas and then just keep on like following, and then that was I would say my first like instrument that I got used to, and I was pretty decent with it. And then as they forward, so uh when after high school, I was just like, I was like skateboarding and then stuff like that. And that's like, my dad was like, what are your plans? What do you want to do in college? What do you want to do in life? And then I decided, well, I'll do music, since I'm surrounded with my relatives are all musicians. So I'll do music. So at first I wanted to do the bass, but I was thinking, oh, bass is probably expensive, so I'll probably start with a violin, so it's like smaller. So I did violin, but yeah, probably just open strings, and then I couldn't handle, like, yeah, I couldn't stand especially when you're like bowing, it's just like squeaks, and it was too high for me to register. So, and yeah, when I was doing that, so, and my other cousin, he's actually a bass player in the like Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra. So he said, "Oh, why don't you try this?" So I said, "Yeah, I'll try that." And then from there, so, okay, I'll decide to do bass. And then I wasn't sure yet if I'll take it seriously. And then I met a really good friend of mine. He's actually my best man. His name is Mark Steady. He said, "Hey, check this out. Like, check out this band. They're called Royal Crown Review." And then from there, it's like, wow, I want to play bass. I want to play the upright bass. So from there, it's like, yeah. Back in the Philippines, it's like not everyone had like internet back then, so we would go to like internet shops. We'll just like, we just have like 20 bucks, like 20 pesos in our pocket, so that's probably less than $1 or something. So we'd go there and then check out like YouTube and stuff like that, and then Royal Crown Review, and then so that's like, wow, this instrument is actually cool. This bass. So from there, it's like I was sort of blown away with the music and like how they looked, and the music. It was like Eddie Nichols, it's like, and then Vaco Lepisto and the bass. It's like, it's like, oh wow, I want to be like them. So from there, it's like, yeah, I think I'll take this seriously. So uh yeah, I did like the classical stuff, open bowing stuff, like beginning just to develop my left hand, and to get familiar with the bass. And I would say I haven't uh I haven't really seen anyone like slap yet. And then I saw Stray Cats. So it's like I didn't know them back then. So it's like, oh, Lee Rocker, it's like Stray Cats. So as we as everything uh came by, it's like I started like digging slap bass, YouTube. And then, you know thanks to you, it's like suddenly there's like a lot of videos, about slap. You introduce a lot of like artists and slap. So I was just like always check and then copy, check and copy. And it was a struggle, because at first I was using orchestral strings. So it was like, does it need to hurt this much, so it's like, oh yeah. So it was a struggle, it was a big struggle. But as yeah, I had a we formed, and from there we formed a swing band. I think that was like the first like neo swing band in the Philippines, I would say. We would do covers for like mostly Royal Crown Review and Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, and then of course Brian Setzer Orchestra, where I started learning the slap and stuff like that. And then yeah, I also had a band that I remember we covered the Living End. So, oh, this is really cool. So I started, yeah, like just basic slap, just and then I don't even have a pickup. I don't even have the right setup and stuff like that. So I remember it's like there's like DIY how to make your own pickup. So it was like it was from those cards when you open up, it has a sound or it has music. So I used that speaker as my transducer. So it was just like a struggle, like all DIY. I got like put them all together. So I think that's where everything started in terms of like slapping.
That's great, and I'm glad to hear that Art of Slap Bass videos helped you out with that start. That's
Big
kind of the
time,
goal. I I
big
think
time.
that I think that it's um for future generations, they're just gonna have to Google slap bass. They're gonna find like all these people on the slap stream, like
Exactly.
saying everything that they know. So it's,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
they're all gonna have it too
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. I think it was like a perfect time for you too. It's like it was starting. Everyone was like, yeah, it's like I don't know, like what year you exactly started like compiling all these videos, but it was like,
Art of Slap Bass I started in 2009.
mm-hmm.
So
So
those
yeah,
were
so yeah, so it
yeah,
was like it's like from there, like like uh as we progress, it's like people are like it's easier for like the newer generation now because there's a lot of materials,
oh yeah, they just have to
good
go on
and bad.
YouTube. It's I wish I had that
Yeah,
all
yeah,
those resources. I wish somebody else did this what I'm doing.
true, true.
I love it, but
Uh-huh.
it's lots of work.
Yeah.
Do you think that knowing how to play percussions and learning how to play percussions in Manila, right?
Yes,
Did that help you with the sense of rhythm and slapping in particular?
it did a lot actually. It's like because when I was in college, like at first I was a percussionist before the bass player in the jazz band.
Oh, okay.
So because I was learning bass, but there was like a more senior bass player, so I had to stay in line. So
Hmm.
I was like, just to be part of that, I can play percussions, I can play conga. So it did
Ah,
really help me. It did really help me because it helped me get the solid pulse, and to play around with the rhythm. So it helped me a lot.
yeah. How old were you when you started playing upright bass?
So that was 1999. I was 19 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Huh.
I'm 41 now.
All right. Good
Yeah.
job. Um, it's funny. And then when did you start that neo swing band that you talked about? Is that Malina Brass
Manila
Monkey?
Brass Monkeys. That's the Brass
Okay,
Monkeys. So yeah, I think that was 2003.
2003. Okay.
2003. So yeah, it was like I think 8-piece band, yeah, with
Oh,
horns.
cool.
Yeah.
Around the
Yeah.
similar time, I think in in 1999, I started also like a first neo swing band
Ah,
back in Serbia, back in the Balkans.
yeah, yeah.
When I was a kid, it was a good band. Whenever I hear those recordings, I think that we still sound pretty decent.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And but
The band's
the
still together
same
now?
thing. We
The
played
band's still
covers of
together?
Royal Crown Review and
Oh yeah.
Setzer Orchestra and all of that, and our own songs. It was
Uh-huh.
cool. At that time I just finished um, jazz school for big band arrangements, and I was like, okay, so I want to slap and I want to use everything that I know.
Yeah,
I
make use of
want to
it.
get the horns and all of that. So it was fun, good
Uh-huh.
times. Um, so you mentioned that you're playing in the symphony orchestra. So does that mean that you had a proper like classical education, formal education, or you were
Yes,
mostly
I
self-taught?
did. I did classical studies, but I wasn't able to finish that.
Mhm.
I wanted to do jazz, so yeah, I did classical. So I was doing like yeah, I was part of Manila Philharmonic Orchestra. So when I was still in college, they would because there's not a lot of bass players in the Philippines.
Mhm.
So just for your information, Philippines they export bananas and bass players. No, just
Two
kidding.
B's.
No, so yeah, there's a lot of bass players. So when we were in college, they said, "Hey, can you do this? We have a show." So it's like, yeah. So I would be part of the orchestras, and we get paid. And then I think from there, it's like, because we were gigging late night, so and we were doing concerts. So I would skip school. I would skip school a lot, and then
Mm.
just like like actually just I'm earning already in this one, so why do I need to? So yeah, so I wasn't able to finish my classical studies, but yeah, like I was like classically trained, yeah, but not. a lot, like to a profession, like I mean to a like a soloist level.
You did that, all of that, to a soloist level? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Oh
not to
no.
that level. Yeah,
Ah,
probably
okay.
just yeah, orchestral playing. I was a assistant principal in Manila for Philharmonic
Oh,
Orchestra.
nice.
Yeah, till I got kicked out
Ah,
because of the swing band. Because I remember,
okay.
it's like I double booked. Actually, it's not double. Yeah, it's like our concert. The orchestra concert. It started an hour later, and then my other gig with the swing band, it's like it was on time. And the traffic in Manila, it's really bad. It's like a big parking lot. So 405, that's a good traffic there. But in Manila, so in other words, like I'm late. So I remember it's like I was like right next to the principal, and I was like slowly moving away just to because I'm late, and it was like it was a special event for the swing band I was in. So I went out because I actually told the principal. I said, "Go ahead," So I left, and then after that, we saw you in the video. You were sneaking out. What were you thinking? That was a concert. It's like, so I had to choose from there. It's like, okay, I'll focus on the swing band.
Oh wow. Did you have
Yeah,
enough work with Brass Monkeys?
we did. Yeah, because there was a lot of like jazz bands in the Philippines, but a lot of them are like like fusion, and
Mm.
there were like let me just my what's this uh my robot vacuum started
Oh,
turning.
okay.
Let me just switch this.
Well, it's good to have robot vacuums during interviews and slap streams.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah.
Does your robot vacuum has a name?
Yes, I call her Inday.
Okay.
Inday is like it's a Filipino term for it's like a woman who helps clean the house.
Ah, got it, got it. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I also
So
named mine. Um, oh, cool. So were you slapping in any of those bands?
yes, so I would, it's like for the swing band, I was like slapping because we would do, this usual brand sets or stuff like jump jive and well
Okay.
stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, I had to slap it, and then I would do slapping some stuff with, like the solo for Hey Pachuco. And it's like,
Okay.
yeah, so that was like,
It's such
yeah,
an effective song. I remember playing that. It's everybody goes crazy.
yeah.
It's cool. And then after that, Bamble Rockers came, right?
Yes. So from there, it's like, oh, it's like I want to focus on rockabilly. It's like uh, we did a lot of like original. Mostly we focused on originals for Bamble Rockers. We even played at Viva, like I would say, what was that, 2017? So we were like fortunate enough to get invited for Viva. So Bamble Rockers is like my good friend Mark Steady. He was actually the vocalist for the Brass Monkeys, and then we formed this Bamble Rockers, this rockabilly band. We did like music videos, and so we even did like around Asia. We did Hong Kong. I think I'm quite confident to say not started, but probably reintroduced the rockabilly in Hong Kong, because I remember uh, uh, we just like we booked our tickets. We want to go to Hong Kong, and then it's like find a show, and then from there it's like uh, a lot of like people like the rockabilly scene, like rockabilly guys, girls, they went to that show, and then said suddenly like, oh, they loved it and stuff like that, and then we went there like almost like every year, and then there was a band now. It's called the Boogie Playboys. So they're like a rockabilly band based in Hong Kong. They formed the band, like they're good friends. They were there in the very first time we were in Hong Kong doing when we did the rockabilly show with the Bamboo Rockers. So yeah, and the only reason why I stopped Bamboo Rockers is when I moved to Middle East for because my wife got an offer to work there. So said, I think it's like, yeah, we have to we have to move. So that was the end of Bamble Rockers. But and then yeah, it's like when we did the Viva, that was like almost sort of like a reunion, if you'd say it that way, in like 2017. So yeah, that was the story.
Also, all the guys are still there. You're the only one that it's actually in the US.
Yes, everyone's
Oh
still there.
wow,
Yeah,
that's cool. And that's
yeah.
after you moved to US, right?
That's actually before US. I went to Middle East.
Okay, no, I got that. But like when you played, if I understand correctly, you moved to US in 2016,
Yeah,
and then in 2017 you played Viva.
we did play Viva.
Okay, so after you moved to the US,
Yeah, yeah,
got
yeah.
it. We're gonna talk about a little bit more about your move to the Middle East and to the US, of course. But before that, I would like to hear you play a little bit. And do you have your bass somewhere close to you?
Yes, right here in
All
front of
right,
me.
please, if you don't mind, slap it a little bit for
Yeah.
us.
Okay, let me just adjust the camera.
All righty,
How
patient.
does it look?
I think it looks good.
So what do you want me to play?
Oh, whatever you want. It's your the show. This show is about you.
Okay, so because actually in the Philippines, there's this music called kundiman. It's like it means like serenade. Like back way back in like late 1800s to 1900s. So that's basically our I would say our folk song. So a lot of them are in you know not crazy chord progressions. A lot of there's just 1 4 5 and but uh one like I would say characteristics of it, it's like they're like in waltz, like a 3 4. So I would play something that's like you know similar, but which has a feel of kundiman. Okay, this is in C minor.
All right. Thank you. I love when people slap in three. It doesn't happen that often. I don't know why is that. What do you think?
I'm not sure because probably everything's like all the rock and roll stuff are in 4.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's like I remember yeah, we did a lot of waltz also, and like there was like a gypsy jazz band I played with in Dubai. We did a lot of waltz, like French waltz. So it gets really the guitar player I was playing with, his name is Alexander Valls.
mhm.
So he goes nuts, when we do a lot of like vals.
That's cool. Um, you can leave your base. Have
Okay.
more questions, so you don't have to hold your base through the whole show. Um, so where did you mentioned that you moved to the Middle East? Where
Yeah.
exactly?
So I lived in Abu Dhabi. So
Oh,
it's like
Abu
an hour
Dhabi.
away from
Okay.
Dubai. Yeah.
So
So I
have you played any in any bands over there?
yes, actually, first like I became a music teacher. I taught in like a British school in Abu Dhabi. So
Oh, you were teaching bass?
I was teaching bass and guitar. There's
Oh,
a
okay,
lot of
cool.
like bass students, like upright bass. So like, oh, can you teach guitar? So I would teach like in young kids because it was like an elementary school.
Mhm.
So and it was like it's like a big part of their curriculum, like learning music instruments. So from that school, there was actually like a community big band. It's called the Abu Dhabi Big Band. So a lot of them are like teachers from different like schools, British schools, American schools. So yeah, I played in that one, and then met a lot of like musicians. So from there, it's like I formed a new swing band, and I think that yeah, it is like the first like neo swing band in the UAE, the Middle East.
Oh,
It's
really? Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah.
Is that the Abu Dhabi Big Band or the Swing
uh,
Review?
the Swinger View.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
Swinger View. Now they're still gigging. Even
Nice.
yeah, they're still busy.
Do they have their own songs or it was mostly covers?
Uh, we tried writing, but we got really busy.
Mhm.
So I don't think I think they have like they have their own songs now. But when I was there, like we didn't get a chance
Got
because
it.
everyone was like either they're like busy with their like teaching jobs and stuff like that. And I think let me just yeah, they were like busy with their teaching jobs or whatever, so that yeah, we didn't get the chance to like we didn't have time to write songs.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's that that's a problem.
yeah, exactly. I think
Oh,
it's once you get busy, it's just hard to like sit down unless you really like. Oh, we have to do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's at one point it's a job. It's a job that we all
Yeah.
love, but it's a job.
Mhm.
Who else were you playing back in the Middle East?
So yeah, aside I would say like uh the Gypsy Swing project we did. It's like the core members like a guitar player and myself, so we would do like residency there. So that's like I really had to like really pull all my chops and stuff because it was like we would do 3 sets and stuff like that. So it's like I have to solo, it's like always alternating because to extend the song. So that's the Gypsy Singing project, and we came out with an album. It's called From Paris to Dubai. The guitar player is from Paris. His name is Alexander Valls, and in that album we also had Sammy and guitar and John Paul and percussions. So yeah, we did that, and I played with a Jordanian oud player, and then he was like fusing jazz and Arabic music. So his name is Kamal Musalam. He played with he was doing like Java festival, but I wasn't there. So yeah, I would do gigs with him. It's a good experience because it's like it's not just like like 4/4. You have this like odd meters. So Arabic music would have those, forgot what it's called, the Arabic percussions. They're just like there's like you have 13/8, like 11/8. So it's like, and it's very natural for them. It's like I was like catching up with it. I just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3. So I was like, that was a good experience for me. And I actually got a chance to play with Below and Elios Ferre when they went to Dubai through the French embassy. They did a 2 night show there, I would say. So it was a really good experience, and they were very kind. They were very good because I wasn't like it was Gypsy Jazz was really new for me, so I was like, "Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right?" So he would say, "If it feels good for you, you're doing it right." So that's what's like, wow, you're very kind. So and yeah, who else did I play? I think that's about it. And there's there's actually a R&B singer. Her name is Ruba Seidan. She's a Lebanese. So I would do like like R&B, hip hop sort of. It's like with the upright bass, and we would do stuff that is like just guitar and bass. So I have to come up with a beat that's like it's like a little like hip hop or like funky. I have to add like percussive sound with with the body of the bass, and at the same time play the bass line. So that was it's like that was something challenging, but it's like it was fun for me to discover like what I can do with the bass. So
Were you
yeah,
slapping with any of those bands?
yes.
With all of
So
them?
yeah, yeah, all of the bands that I mentioned, I was slapping. I
Nice.
tried to slap. Yeah, because there's like a lot of like actually a lot of good bass players in Dubai. Because
Mhm.
if I'm not sure if you know, like, there's a lot of expats like Europeans, British,
Sure.
so they would come there and like there's a lot of good musicians. So I think my only weapon was I could slap. And
Ah,
then they're like good jazz bass players and stuff like that. But they would get me because I have this percussive sound. Yeah,
nice.
that was the advantage
Um,
of a slap bass player.
oh, cool. So you were the only slap bass player back over there?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you were living in Abu Dhabi, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, but you were gigging in Dubai, or what was the thing?
Abu Dhabi, Dubai. So it's like basically an hour away from each other. But
Okay.
a lot of things happening in Dubai because they're trying to build the tourism there. So
Yeah,
it's
I
like
think that the Dubai is kind of the biggest city over there, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
In uh in the Emirates.
yeah, yeah. It is, and everything is happening there. All the concerts, all the nightlife. Yeah, you would have some, in Abu Dhabi, but mostly it's in Dubai.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
I would like actually to hear more about that Arabic band that you were mentioning, that you played like odd time signatures and stuff. Were you playing? I understand you were playing Arabic music.
Yes, we were playing. Yeah, combination of Arabic music and it's like he would fuse like funk fusion and
Okay.
funk and Arabic. It's like so. Yeah.
So and when you said percussions, like were you talking about deaf?
You mean what they call the percussions?
No, I know how they call them. Like, so
Oh,
which ones were they using when you talk like deaf? Were they? You mentioned that this thing that
I,
looks like dire. So I assume it's
I think it's called
the Arabic tambourine.
no. The some are playing that. Some is darbuka, something like that.
Darabuka.
Darabuka. It's like really, really fast. Yeah, like they're holding it there. Like yeah.
Okay, and when you mentioned like I assume Rick as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Did you have a chance like to learn makams? Were you playing any of those
No.
Arabic scales?
No, no, no. I wasn't able, but it's like it's like as I mentioned, like everyone's like in like living in UAE. It's just so fast. The pacing so fast. It's like wait, that year has passed by already. So it's like we never get a chance to learn. So it's
Mm.
just like go to the gig and do the gig, and then go do your day job and stuff like that. So everything was fast. No, I wasn't able to. I wish.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. I spent like a decent amount of time learning that. I had a kind of Middle Eastern band that we played lots of Arabic music
Mm-hmm.
in Serbia. So I got really into that type of stuff. Um, and all the quarter tones and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
commentary. It's amazing
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Especially also even like the rhythm, you know. I'm sure you are because I've heard like it's like you did a lot of this. I think in one interview you mentioned like it's just something like for like I have to put effort to just as I mentioned I have to put effort in just finding where the first beat is,
Mhm.
so some of them they're natural.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's what we grew up with.
Yeah, yeah,
That's I always joke that my heartbeat is in 7/8.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Uh,
okay, cool. And so you stay there for about like 4 or 5 years, and then
yes.
that's when you moved to the States. Why
Yeah.
did you decide to move to the States?
Actually, we were actually supposed to move here, but before actually going to the Middle East. But my
Hmm.
wife's parents they live in the Middle East, so it's like, well, we might as well, let's try it out there. And
Hmm.
then yeah, and then just came like because actually as a musician there, and I was like, you earn a lot of like money.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
cool.
yeah, I'm not sure if you've heard like for example like a normal bar gig here that pays $100, you'll get like you'll get 300 $400 there for a normal gig, for $100. So it's like as a musician, I was earning a lot there, but for me, I think I wanted to grow more. I wanted to learn more about the swing and rockabilly and stuff like that. Say, yeah, I think it's about time for us to move to to LA, to
Oh,
US.
so you
So
moved to LA because of music?
yes,
Oh, wow, cool.
actually, don't tell my wife that. No, no, it's like yeah, she knows, but also my because my family's here, my folks is here, but
Oh,
this is like my main goal. Originally we were supposed to move to New York. That's where my wife's employer is, but I said I'm not sure about New York, but I want to go to LA because that's where the scene is, so I was able to convince her, but since my parents are here, so it was easier for us.
okay.
Yeah, she doesn't
Cool.
know
Well, I'm glad you're here.
that. Yeah,
Um,
me too.
so, so when you moved out here, you quickly became fairly busy, right?
I was surprised actually. Actually, when I was still in Abu Dhabi, I have a American friend who was a music teacher in American school there. So like, he was telling me, "Are you sure you're moving to the U.S.? Like, are you sure about that? You know how much you're earning here and how much you'll earn there. And good luck for you to to actually get a gig. It'll take a while for you to because there's a lot of like really great musicians, which is true. I think I got lucky. Just like it's like I knew the right person, and then I would just like introduce myself. I just like took the risk, and I was like, yeah, meet people, and then from there, I was like surprised. I was like gigging. Yeah, I was gigging, and then people like knew about it. It's like I think because I showed up in time, I was prepared. I tried to be prepared at least. So yeah, from there it's like yeah, I was starting gigging a lot, and I was surprised. Yeah.
How long did it take you to get your first gig here?
Under the table because it's like because when we came here we were still fixing our papers, so I couldn't do gigs that are for example the Disney gigs because everything is you have to have the right documents to work. But
Oh,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
would yeah, so when I started actually gigging, there's a local band here in Lancaster. They're called Mama's Hot Sauce. They would do like rockabilly stuff. So when I think 2016 when I got here December, I watched their like I think their Christmas show, and I met them, and then I did a few gigs with them, and then I think by January I met Spaz, John Hatton. So thank you, John. Thank you, Spaz. So he said, "Hey, do you want to play with this band, the Fat Cat Swinger? Do you know them?" So I wasn't, like I didn't know them because I just moved here. So I said, "Oh, you check them out. You like them." So and then I got a gig, like a special event in San Diego with them. So that was my first gig with Fat Cat Swinger because it's Spaz. Spaz also plays with them
Mm,
during that time. He would sub for another bass player. So yeah, through Spaz, I knew Fat Cat Swinger, and yeah,
nice. So I'm glad that you became fairly busy. Usually, people say it takes about a year to meet people and to start actually playing music on a decent level that you can um, earn a living
yeah, yeah,
from music. It's tough. It's a tough world.
yeah. It is. It is. Yeah.
Um, so that was the kind of the first gig, and then that led to a few others, right? Do you
Yes. Yes.
anybody
It
else
did.
that you want to mention that you play with or that you have played with here in the States?
Yeah. So because there's this we know that it's a big swing and rockabilly scene here in LA. So and when I before I moved here, I would like see artists, musicians, bands again way back when I was still in the Philippines. So actually, when I first watched the Royal Crown Review back in the Philippines, I want to see them live. I want to watch them. I was like that has been my dream. So the reason for me coming here is also it's like I know it's like Royal Crown's not together anymore, but it's like I want to meet the people who were like part of the Royal Crown Review, like Mondo Durami, Bill Ungerman, Eddie Nichols, Mark Callie, everyone like in the bands. Like it was my goal to meet them at least. Not even play with them, but just to meet them, just say like, "Hey guys, because of you, it's like I play the bass now. I just so I think every time I like my first time meeting them, like, hey, thank you because of you I play bass. I think I said it to everyone. So yeah, from there also like now it's easier. Like before coming here, it's like I was like messaging them through Messenger, like, hey, when's your next show? Can I meet you? Like that. So I was like, they were kind enough, responded to me, and then I would meet them in their gigs. So I met Mondo Durami, and then Spaz was also in that gig. So he let me he let me sit in for a song. It was at Joe's Burbank. So it's like, hey, you want to play for a song? I said, sure. So I was like, I wasn't ready. So and then I was like, of course, like I was like shocked that I was actually playing on stage with my idol Mondo Durami and then Mark Callie for Royal Crown Review. This was with Jennifer Keith. So it's like, yeah, I played a tune, and then from there, it's like, I hope I didn't disappoint. Like in my mind, I hope I didn't disappoint Mondo because I remember like when I was coming up on stage, Mondo asked Spaz, hey, does he read? Can you read the charts? And then Spaz, don't worry. He's like, oh, thank you, Spaz. He's like, don't worry, he'll be good. He'll do it. So yeah, I survived the gig. I mean, the song. So from there, it's like I met Mondo, and then yeah, there was like one show. I think it was called Sky. What's that in Long Beach? Sky. I forgot what's the place called. So he asked me, "Hey, can you do a gig?" I said, "Can you do a full gig with us?" I said, "Sure." So, do you want to get the books? Do you want to get the charts ahead of time? So I said, "Yeah, I don't want to be overconfident." I said, "Sure." So I drove down from here from Lancaster to Long Beach to get the books and stuff, and then just made sure for the gig that I prepared everything. But of course, like I didn't get the set list ahead of time, but I had enough time to learn the music, you know. So and from there, it's like, hey, Mondo told me, hey, you're my guy now, It's like, wow, thank you, It's like because that was my dream to to play with them, to meet them, So I was really happy, and yeah, it's like uh we would just do gigs here and there, and then I would just get used to their book, and then yeah, starting to actually enjoy the music now. Because first it was like really focused, I don't want to mess this up. I have to like read it, So and a really good learning experience because it's really nice to play along with like really good musicians because you learn from them. So help me with the time, help me to relax, help me get familiar and then get the real feel of how it's supposed to be. And then also I remember this is another one's like Bernie Dressel's big band. So I got to see them live at Joe's. So Spaz is on bass. So I met Bernie Dressel and stuff like that. So and I'm not sure if I mentioned him. So I said, I told Bernie, it's like, just in case passes away, if you need a bass player, let me know. So Bernie said, yeah, sure. And I was like, I didn't even, it was just like, just trying my luck. So that December, I think Spaz is away with Setzer for like a concert in Japan. So Bernie called me, hey, you want to do this gig? We have Joe's like he asked me like two dates and stuff like that. So I said, sure. When's the rehearsal? So he said, there's no rehearsal. I said, oh, there's no rehearsal. Okay. So if you want to get the book, get the book. So I got the book. I remember it's like, oh, this is gonna be hard. Why did I even ask Bernie if he why did I even tell Bernie if he needed a bass player to contact me? It's like, but I said, no, I'll take this challenge and then just learn them because a lot of his arrangements are just they're not like it's like you have to be really good at it, yeah, or at least you're comfortable like really reading and stuff like that. So yeah, I was able to learn them, but of course I was like nervous and stuff like. So I did the first gig with them. So Bernie was in front of me. It's like he kept on looking at me. So I was like, so a lot of pressure. And then from there, say, hey, it's like, you did good. It's like there are things that we have to work on, stuff like that. And from there, it's like, oh, do you want to come to my house and let's work on some things. So here's another thing that I learned from him. It's like, because when I play bass, I hear dun 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 ba boom ba boom ba boom ba boom ba boom ba boom. I always said, Bernie told me, let me do the ba boom, let me do the 8 notes. Just do the quarter notes. Just do the quarter notes. Those are the things that I learned, you know, which really helped me a lot, like understand the music and how to approach and like different styles of music. It's like just as long as you keep it simple, play the music. I think people will hire you. So because I'm till now, I'm still learning. I'm still learning about the history, like who to listen to. So by playing along with these great musicians, great bands, I learn, like meeting other bass players, watching stuff online. So I learned. So this is a continuous learning for me. So I'm really thankful for that. And uh, another, yeah, I would play with, Dave Stuckey and Hot House Gang, Jonathan Stout and his orchestra. So a lot of like 20s, 30s, 40s swing. I would do like trad jazz bands with Holy Crow Jazz Band. So everyone's based here in LA. So each band that I play with, I learn from different musicians, different like older cats that are like, hey, listen to this guy, listen to this bass player. Do you know this bass player? No, I don't know. Please, yeah. So I would listen. So I would pick up stuff. But I think the only thing with me is like I'm so bad, like like in remembering names. Like, hey, who's that bass player? Like, oh, wait, what's his name again? Because that's something that I have to improve. I don't dig enough. It's like I probably get just I would say if I would just probably get like 30-40% from that bass player and then I would move on. That's something that I have to improve. But in a way, it also helps me because instead of me sounding like this bass player, it's like I'm getting just some parts of him and then just say combining different bass players to actually try to you know make my own sound. So uh, yeah, from there, like yes, just keep on meeting a lot of people and bands and learning. So and then with Fat Cat Swinger, yeah, the band Fat Cat Swinger, we play in Disney. This is a very energetic neo swing band. Everything like the arrangements are so good. It's like I won't be able to memorize every. No, I don't think anyone will memorize because the arrangements are just like a lot of hits, a lot of like syncopations, a lot of like rhythm changes. I mean rhythms and stuff like that. So we would play like while reading because it's a very high energetic band. We would move around because like Disney has to be animated. We would move around and at the same time like focus on what we're reading. So this another like uh skill that I had to develop. It's like uh do a show, like some showmanship at the same time, like actually focus on reading the music. It's almost like orchestral playing that it's like some songs are written like chord charts, some are like actual notes. So you have to focus because you have the same hits with the drums or the horns. So this is another like thing that helped me you know uh I mean trained me. It really trained me a lot. So yeah, that's about it.
And I believe it's really important to know how to read, and it's essential if you want to be really busy. I think, except if you're
Yeah,
lucky and then you get like one gig that it's extremely busy. But
yeah,
I think that's a really good really important skill to have,
yeah.
to
True,
be
true.
a good sight reader. How did you develop that skill?
Through orchestral playing,
Okay.
yeah, we would do classical stuff like that. So
Did you go? Did
and
you go to jazz school at all?
I did. No, I actually after taking the classical stuff, I just did a course at like it's London Trinity, like
Mhm.
jazz studies. I did the exam there. I have funny things like when I did the exam, the examiner is a bass player too, and they couldn't, they couldn't. When I was doing the my test, he was just in front of me, and then they're like actually recording it audio, so they couldn't say, they can make any comments or any reactions because it will sound biased in the So I did like a course like doing I did the exam like jazz stuff like that, and then yeah I combined slap with that, so he was like surprised. So I got just for the sake of for me getting a certificate or a diploma. So I got that, like jazz. I finished jazz studies, London Trinity.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's cool. Good for you. Yeah, the side reading I cannot recommend it, enough. And I think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
essential. And you mentioned Bernie Gig. I recently recorded an album with him, and yeah, it definitely requires lots of reading,
yeah.
and it could be challenging from time to time.
It is. Yeah,
I'm not sure if you play that tune, but I played one Frank Zappa tune with him that it's changing time signature every couple measures.
mm. uh,
It's uh it's a cool tune, but
oh,
it's
I don't think I played that. Yeah, I'm not surprised because actually when I saw Hawaii 50 in the like set list, wow, Hawaii 50 that should be easy. When I saw it, oh my, it's like a funk Hawaii 50 with a lot of like change like in the time signatures. Like okay, yeah.
cool stuff. So anybody I know that you played with Lil Mo a little bit, right?
Oh yeah. So we Lil Mo and the Lonesome Crows, it's like a western swing,
Hmm.
sort of, and then we sing in harmony. We don't have a drummer, so it's basically the timekeepers is like the rhythm guitar and myself. So we have we did shows at Viva, and then we're doing that now. Yeah.
Nice. Who would you say you're the most busy? Who's keeping you busy the most?
Because Fat Cat Swinger, because I think he's just like Marco Palos, the band leader. He's like he gets a lot of he's busy like getting a lot of gigs. So I would say Fat Cat keeps me really busy, and we're doing the Disney shows like the holiday shows. So it's like
Nice.
starting November, like 4 days a week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, actually really great arrangements. It's like Christmas tunes, but like wow, this arrangement is something else. It's not just like typical like it's like I mean uh the arrangements, the original arrangements are good, but this is actually like wow, why didn't I think of that? It's like a good idea to do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you write your own music as well?
Yes. Yeah.
You do?
For Fat Cat Swinger
No,
or
you
myself.
personally.
Yeah. Actually, now I formed a soul band.
Uh-huh.
So we're writing a lot of like originals. Mostly it's original stuff. So uh,
Nice.
yeah,
Do you slap in that band as well?
not a lot, not a lot. Probably here and there. Like if there's not a lot.
And just to check, you guys play with the Fat Cat Swinger. You play at California Adventure or Disneyland?
Yes, California Adventure.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I've seen you play over there. I mean,
Mm,
that band at least like a few years ago.
yeah.
Um, I used to go kind of often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the band. Cool. Anybody else that you would like to mention in like as far as bands that you played with here
oh,
in LA?
I actually can't.
You told me about the Moontones as well,
Oh,
right?
oh, wait. The Moon is actually my band. I'm the,
Do you want to mention your band as well?
actually, the Moon Tones is like, uh, we formed that band for the like like just to pay homage to like the R&B jump blues bands or
Uh-huh.
artists back in the 50s. So yeah, we would do like we don't have any original, so it's like mostly like doing that stuff that where you could hear it from like record hops and stuff. So we
Hmm.
would play it live. So yeah, the Moon Tones, it's like a 7-piece band. played Vivas. I think we formed that 2017, something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
2022.
Did you know that Jimmy Sutton's band used to be called Moondogs?
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Jimmy Sutton. Oh, Jimmy Sutton. Yeah, he's it's like one of my idols.
Nice. Let me hear you play a little bit more.
Okay, let me do some rhythm changes.
All right, that's always good.
If you can't think of anything, just do rhythm changes.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds good. I love rhythm change. If any of you that it's watching the slap stream doesn't know the rhythm change, you should learn it. And you can start with I got rhythm, but
Yeah.
you can be brave and start with oleo.
Uh,
Um, cool, man. Sound great as always. I'm really glad you're sharing your wisdom here and your story here on the slap stream in Slapsville.
oh,
Um,
thank you for even considering me.
of course.
I'm just a viewer. And,
Well, thanks for watching it, for being a
yeah, of
part
course.
of
It's
the
like
Slapsville.
yeah, it helps. It's like I don't want to miss this chance, but thank you for what you're doing. It's like it helped me a lot. It's like I would say it's like I I, I had to research, but through your channel, I was able to actually know who to look at, who to research about, and
Yeah,
it's like I think you're actually putting every, you're filtering, you're putting it all together, and then just it's like here you go. Yeah,
exactly. I'm putting everything on the plate.
exactly.
That, I did
Thank
like
you for doing that.
ridiculous. Oh, welcome. I did that for myself, and then I'm like, I really want to do this right. And then I'm like, yeah, I wish somebody else did this before me, so that
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
that I can just like buy a book or subscribe to a YouTube channel and then like learn about all of this. But I was like, oh, no, all right. Rockabilly guys are just into rockabilly, maybe blues, maybe country, world music guys are just into, whatever, Arabic music or
yeah.
like Balkan
Uh-huh.
music. And then those worlds never,
Yeah,
collide.
they
And I'm
don't
like,
meet.
wow, I want to make this happen. We should, and then, when I started playing my solo shows, I'm like, what should I do? I'm like, no, I'll just do like one rockabilly tune. I'll do like a couple of Bulgarian pieces, a
Uh-huh.
jazz tune, and a boogie boogie, and then I'll do a Turkish classical,
Mhm.
stuff that I wrote, but in those
Yeah, yeah,
styles.
yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of like complete
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
schizophrenia, but it's a challenge to make one sound but playing different genres, so it doesn't sound
Yeah.
like a I don't know, compilation plate.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, actually, it's like you mentioned. It's like I just remember like I had to do a gig before. It was like solo bass for like 3 sets of 45 minutes. It's like solo bass. It's like,
mhm.
and what am I gonna do? And I didn't want to use a looper. It's like with all due respects with the people who use the looper. First things like I don't know how to use a looper. Like with all the technologies, like I'm not really good at technology and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like it really helped me like to come up with stuff, like be creative. Yeah.
Yeah, I never really properly learned how to use a looper, but I plan to
Uh-huh,
eventually one of
uh-huh.
these days. It's one of
Yeah.
the to-do lists
Yeah, if it helps, right?
before I die. I don't know when it's gonna happen. The not dying part, when it's gonna happen that I actually learn this. I would love to. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be very helpful. I would like
Mm-hmm.
to get to talk a little bit about your gear and the stuff that you like to use. What's your instruments? Let's start with basses. How many basses you have, and what are they?
Yeah. So right now I have three basses. My first bass that my dad bought me is a Suzuki, a 1980 Suzuki made in Japan. So it was like that was my first bass, and it traveled quite like I left it in Dubai, so it's there. And my two other basses are a 1942 M1. Wait, M1, yeah, M1K, and then a 1952K. So, and for the strings, I use the gut strings for DNG. I get them actually. I got two gut strings from FMI. FMI bases in Pasadena. They gave me some strings, and they're actually good. I like using them. The clarity and the sustain and the warmth of the strings are really good. And then for my E and A, for all this is for all my basses. For my E and A, I use velvet strings. They're from Switzerland, which unfortunately I think they closed down. But a good friend of mine, Nuno Alexander from Portugal, yeah, he used to work there. Like he would send me a lot of strings, and then just I think he just sent me the last set or batch of strings, so I have some spare velvet strings, so that's what I use for my basses. The reason why I like using the A and E string is like uh for me it's like it sounds so close with the gut strings, but it's like the clarity, it's like you can really hear the notes. If I would use E and A for myself. Like I don't hear the notes clearly for E and A for gut strings. That's why I chose using the velvet strings. And yeah, because I remember it's like there's a bass player. It's like he said his E string has been there for like 12 years already because he never uses E string unless it's like a G blues or something like that. So yeah, it's like just a funny story. So yeah, I would use that a lot. So that's why E and A velvet strings are good for me. And then for the pickup, I use the underbridge pickup for my amp. But I give for big shows, I give my out for the front of house. I have a DPA microphone, the one that clamps to your strings. So it's a little pricey, but it's really worth it. It's like every time like the sound guys would say, ah, it's so easy to mix. So easy to mix your sound and stuff like that. But I think it also picks up, because it's quite sensitive. It also picks up my bass amp sound behind me. So I think it's like it reinforces the sound of the actual the sound acoustic sound of the bass. But the thing I like with that, it's like, yeah, it gives the natural sound of the bass, the acoustic sound of the bass. But of course, your bass need to sound like good acoustically to get that good sound. So
And when you mention like underbridge a pickup, do you mean the Underwood pickup, or you're
oh
using the pickup
yeah,
under the bridge like David Gage?
Underwood. Thank you.
Underwood. Okay.
Yeah, Underwood that I put in bridge. Yeah, Underwood, Underwood pickup. So
And and is it are you using both sides or just one?
just one. And at first, actually, I just broke the one side of it. But what I did, I would stick in the other end of the pickup in the foot of the bridge and the belly of the bass. Actually, I would like tape it there. I don't know. It's like when I tried it, it actually gave me more like the bottom, but at the same time not too muddy. It was like in between the feet of the bridge. So it's like right. Yes, I stuck it in the belly of the bass, but I broke it, so I just have just one in my bridge right now.
Are you
And
gonna
yeah,
buy a new one, or are you gonna continue using like that?
I'm buying. I'll buy a new one once I get the funds. Yeah,
Now when the Disney gigs kick in, huh?
yeah, exactly.
Cool. And this, so we covered the basses and the strings, pickups. What amps are you using? And are you using any effects or pedals or anything like that?
No, I don't use any effects or pedal. For my amp head, which I just blew out the probably overuse. I have a GK RB 700, something like that. Yeah, so I have that, and then I have 2/10 of the bag end for like normal gigs. But if I know that I'll have to play something like a loud rockabilly set, I would get my, I would say, I'm not even sure, 12 or 15 back end sub on top. So I have 2/10, and then I think it's 12. I'm so bad at like gears and stuff like that. And for smaller gigs, I use an acoustic image, the combo, the one that has like a speaker in the bottom. So I use that because it's just actually reinforcing my sound like acoustic when I do like the 20s, 30s, 40s jazz. It's like it's just it reinforces the sound of my bass at the same time. It doesn't sound like my bass is amplified. It's just actually my bass just sounds louder. If you get what I mean, it's like it doesn't have a different tone. It's like so that helps me with like gigs that are not really loud, and it's quite handy and light. Since actually since my GK broke, I had to take remove the amp head from that acoustic image and use that for now. Yeah.
Is there anything, have we forgot anything to mention as far as oh, do you use a bow?
Yes, I do use a bow. I use a French, German bow.
German?
Yeah,
I mean, I assume you learned that at the when you were back in Manila.
yeah. So
Okay.
when I was in conservatory,
Oh,
it's
so you
called
were studying at the conservatory?
yes, yeah,
Oh, nice. So you played like concerto, like
yes,
Kusevitsky's, Dietersdorf, and all of that.
yeah. But
Wow,
not. I want grade. Yeah, I was doing like orchestral stuff. It's like
more
yeah,
orchestra. Okay. Oh,
yeah.
so you were not playing Kusevitsky and Dietersdorf or
No,
Bottesini.
I was heading there before I stopped.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I studied Simandl, all those stuff like
Uh-huh.
etudes. Yeah, so I was doing that.
Technical stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I started sonatas, sonatas.
Okay. That's good stuff. I always recommend, to all my students when I teach them, to play a little bit of classical. It's yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's really essential for the intonation.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
With your left hand, it helps a lot.
with
Yeah.
the bow, it's really helpful. Um, as far as your bass influences, can you mention any names?
Yeah. I'll try to write like uh not non
Biggest
slappers or
biggest biggest influences on your bass playing?
okay. Uh, I would say like the non slappers is like it's like I really love Slam Stewart. It's like non-slappers like comes to my mind right like Slam Stewart. So and of course Pops Foster, uh, and like the like like good friends like I mean like the contemporary ones right Jimmy Sutton, Bo Sample. They influence me like they help me like dig into like okay pay attention to this so this is like the living bass players that I like influence me a lot like I watch them a lot. Nuno Alexandre, he helped me a lot like with styles. I remember we would Skype, he would teach me and stuff like that. So yeah, with the style that they're like, I listen to a lot. Like, yeah. And again, I said there's a lot in my head, but like nothing coming out from my like mouth. Like what's their name again? Yeah. So, but slams to work for me. It's like, not non-slapper, but
That's your guy.
yeah.
Do you do the singing and bowing in the same time like
Yeah,
him?
yeah. But actually, like, when I was like doing like, yeah, we had like a jazz combo in the Philippines. Like, it helped me phrase when I sing it, because for me it's like you can just solo and stuff like that. It's for me. Okay, I'm talking like that when you solo, it's like the phrasing doesn't come natural. So before I knew slams to work, I would sing my solos in terms like, because it helped me phrase them, not just like play da 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 da. But when actually even if it's not the same pitch or anything like that, it helps me rhythmically like phrase my solos. So yes, I because slams to work, as you know, he's a violin player before he moved to bass. So it's like he would sing octave higher of what he's actually playing in his bass. So yes, I sing and bow at the same time, but not as confident as, of course, slams to work.
So is slap still kind of the main thing, or you prefer like to bow it?
You mean my bass?
No, no. When you play it, like is slap
Oh,
kind of your favorite style, or you
oh
prefer to
yeah,
bow
of
it?
course. Slap
Okay.
is my favorite style. Yeah,
Lemmy
I would.
was excellent slapper. Have you heard any of his
Yes,
slap
yeah,
examples?
yeah.
Like a
It's like,
B19, and it's
yeah, he,
it's cool stuff.
yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, I love slapping. Yeah, I remember it's like, it's like, yeah, I love soloing, but more than soloing, I love, accompanying. I love being a sideman more than, but I love soloing. I love soloing. Yeah.
We all do.
We
Hopefully, our
never get
audience as
that's how
well.
much.
um,
It's, another funny thing is like, it's like, uh for example, you have like a seven-piece band, and then everyone's like soloing, and then you're playing something that, and then they ask you to solo. I'm too tired to solo already. It's like after like how many times they did this, you're like how many times they did the choruses, and now it's your time to solo. I'm so tired, and then they'll solo. Sometimes, people will clap. I'm not sure if they, oh, I feel sorry for the bass player now. They will clap. Sometimes, oh, finally, it's like, yeah. But it's nice. It's nice that, it's like, we get the solo too. It's like, yeah.
yeah, slap is definitely good for solo. And
Yeah.
a thing that you mentioned about playing the whole night, I read somewhere that Milt Hinton actually said, he said, like, somebody asked him something after the gig, and he was like, "Well, me and the drummer were the only ones that were working. That work like a whole night. So the other guys like take rests all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
do a theme or a solo. They're done. They can drink whiskey.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I don't have time to drink whiskey. I have time like to to groove whole night, and I have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. 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 It's
It's
like
interesting.
even the drummer can stop.
Yeah, I mean, we stop for their solos, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only
It's
time
kind of
like,
like equal.
yeah.
Yeah, well, how would you say, like, how did you develop your own style of playing?
I would say because of, it's like listening to different players, and I would also listen to a lot of like drum rhythms, in terms of, for me, like for like gives me an idea in my soloing. I would always, when someone solos, I would always pay attention. You know, for me, it's like, especially when you have this, like, yeah, it's like swing combo or whatever. Like, it's like a conversation. It's like you react. It's like a storytelling. You guys are around like a bonfire, and someone tells a story. You guys pay attention. You react. So I was taught to listen to soloists. It's like my teacher taught me, it's like you have to make them look good. It's like that's why it's like I pay attention to what story they're telling me. So I react, I support. So from there, I also get an idea, rhythmically, note wise, like the form, the structure, like I'm like how they would form their solo, the shape of it. So, what was your question again?
How did you develop your own style of playing?
Oh, okay. I developed my own style by just like listening to not just bass players, and I would listen to different sorts of music. Uh, I think sometimes if when I started gypsy jazz, I didn't know anything about the music, so I would play on how I think it should be played, and then from there it's like, okay, these are the things that I shouldn't do, and then so I combine everything. Like it's mostly I combine different styles, different bass players, and just for me to develop my own sound. And then I would say I would do it in, for example, in a band that I think it would fit. If it doesn't fit, I will try to, of course, hey, don't do that. Don't, and then I never do it again. Okay, now I know. It's like, so I'm still like putting my own style, but just basically just putting everything that I listen to from rockabilly, swing, hip hop, reggae, ska, R&B, even doo wop. How doo wop bass players would walk their bass. So I would also I would do that like in slap way if I play like a 20s style of swing music. So yeah, I would combine different music. That's why I like playing with different bands, because it doesn't stop me just like just play triplets, quarter notes, eight notes. Like, it gives me more of like phrasing it instead of like one bar. I would phrase my I would say my rhythm in like in 4 bars or whatever like that.
Um, since this is the focus of this show is the slap bass, what would you say were the most essential slap bass recordings for you?
Slap bass recordings. Uh, I, mm, I would say for me personally, uh, forgot his name.
Old or new, whatever.
It's it's old. Forgot. Let me pull up. It's in for new. Let's say my new one. I can even think of a. Uh, no, actually, I can think of any. Right, like it's like a lot of them, like made an impact, but nothing like really. It's like I'm so bad at it's like remembering things. It's like,
No worries.
but
So since we're talking about slap, um, what were your band leaders say about it? Did you have like a band leader saying like, "Oh, I want you to play slap all the time," or like, "Oh, please don't do that. Don't slap ever again. You're gonna
so
lose the gig."
far, actually, so far, none of them told me not to slap, because sometimes in bossa nova I would slap too.
Nice.
Yeah, I would slap in bossa nova, combine it with tapping in the bass. Uh, but
Oh, no, this is kind of the time like, well, I would like you to ask you to play a little more. Like, do you mind playing something in a bossa nova style and then tapping?
sure.
All right. love hearing. Don't leave your bass yet. No.
Okay. Is
Now I
this
have
an
more
exam?
questions about playing and slapping. I love hearing slap bass in different music genres, especially in genres where slap bass is not commonly used. Have you ever
Mhm.
heard any other bass players using slap with bossa novas or any like Latin styles like that?
No, actually, the reason why I learned how to do that, you remember, like I was with this Gypsy Jazz, so we were like we play like as a duo, so we would play a lot of like Gypsy Jazz stuff, but he would play like Bossa Dorado, and he would what's the other tune it's called? It's like a bossa but Gypsy style. So it's
Hmm.
like I had to figure out, it's like to be percussive at the same time. So, but I wasn't able to like really research on like bass player who does like slapping and like bossa style.
Cachao and cachaito are usually excellent start for people like to research anything uh, Latin bass
Hmm.
and Latin slap bass, the upright.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And that's what I usually recommend.
Mm.
Before we go any further, I would like to ask you, uh, what is the terminology that you're using when you talk about slap? Are you using that regular like single slap, double slap, triple slap, and or like some other terminology and
Uh,
nomenclature as well?
I
Or
think I think it depends who am I speaking to.
okay,
So like for example like rock, like let's say like rockabilly guys, so so we can understand each other, like it's like I won't go techno like, oh, this are like one and a two and a three. I would say it's a gallop, dun, ticka, dun, ticka, dun, ticka, dun, 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 instead of one and a two and a three and a four and a one, so it really depends on like, but I would use different terminologies, because like for example like this is like straight and the swing. So yeah, it's like swing 8 notes and yeah, a triplet.
so if you demonstrate the patterns that the slap patterns that you're using, um, if you don't mind, like demonstrate all the slap patterns that you're using and how you basically name them.
Okay, so like yeah, quarter notes, and then I would straight swing, swinging 8 notes, and then triplet, and then yeah, the gallop, and then the 16 notes, uh, and then I would say I would call this like a Latin, yeah, and a drag, and then the drag triplet. What else? What else do I use? Uh, I'm not even aware of like whatever what other things I use. So basically, yeah, those are the basic stuff that I use, and then I just combine them, you know, and then yeah, just different rhythms. But basically, those are the basic stuff that I use.
And when you mention like different rhythms, are you talking about those odd time signatures and stuff?
Yeah, and it's like yeah, I never do a lot of like, I think it's just the most comfortable I do is the waltz, because not like it's like I can like spontaneously do a like odd rhythm like like in slap, but yeah, it's like I yeah, it's just like the most comfortable for me is just like waltz and 4/4.
Um, cool. All right. So you're not using that like a single slap, double slap, triple slap time thing. You more like use like musical, actual musical terminology.
Yeah, what's actually a double slap?
I mean, depends who you're talking about. That's why I'm doing this, because
Okay.
I want to pick everyone's brain and then just like, yeah, how would you call this? I mean,
Yeah,
I obviously have my own
yeah.
way
Actually,
like
it's like
of doing it.
someone like is there's actually a jazz player that I'm helping out. She because she's doing like a Fat Cat gig. So I was explaining like I think it's sometimes it's easier to it's like pull tap tap pull tap tap pull tap tap. It's like just to for them to actually like easily understand what's actually happening with you. Pull tap tap pull tap tap. Yeah, pull 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 pull. If you're doing like quarter notes, pull, and then the drag. Yeah,
Cool. I think you can. Thanks for the demonstration. I
yeah,
think you can leave your base for a
yeah.
second. Um, I think that you would actually be an excellent guy to ask this question, and I love asking this particular question to all my guests. Do you have any advice how to get the gig?
Oh, I think if I just if someone hires you or like a band leader asks you like make their life easy because for them like getting a gig is very stressful, coordinating with a lot of like venue, coordinating with musicians and the client or whatever. It's like I think the best thing you could contribute is like make it easy for him. That means actually my teacher taught me if you arrive on time, it means you're late. So I would always show up an hour before. You know, it's for the benefit of the band leader. It's also actually for your own benefit because you come there, you're relaxed, you're not stressed, you're not because traffic is unpredictable, and if you come early, you have plenty of time, relax, set up your instruments, and if you have time, help around. So basically, just make it easy for the band leaders. And another thing is like I think always take the risk, always take the challenges, and just make the best of what you can do. Like do your best. It doesn't mean it'll be perfect, but your intentions of you know doing your best should be there because from there it's like uh I think subconsciously you'll always say, okay, if I want to do better and better each time, it means you know I have to work on it, I have to practice. So come prepared every time. And yeah, so those are like the basic stuff that sometimes we tend to forget. But if we want to take it seriously and we want to do gigs, these are the stuff that we it can these are the stuff that will really help us get gigs. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have any advice for upcoming bass players or other bass players? If you can point out like to some of your mistakes and maybe saying like what are the common mistakes that people can avoid that other bass players can avoid on the path?
I
If
th-
you can
yeah,
give
I think
room for a second.
posture and position is really a big factor. You know, there's if you're comfortable in how you're sitting or how you're standing, it's and how you're playing, everything will if it feels natural for you, uh it'll be that's ideal actually to have a good posture. So by knowing there like how to stand and how you can be as relaxed as possible, it'll be easy to play because especially when you're starting, you'll get a lot of like bad habits and like how to stand. But I won't say there's only one way to stand or there's only this way that you have to hold the bass. It really depends on your comfortability. But for me it's like find the most comfortable like position that you can hold and you can play the bass that you're basically like putting less effort and just even trying to hold the bass, not falling, because from there it's like if you do if you get used to wrong habits, it's quite hard to change it. So it don't be afraid to ask, there's a lot of bass players which like Georgia, it's like they're very happy to share, and uh so don't be afraid to ask, like, hey, how is this done, how is it, can you help me with this? We have a good bass community here, so everyone will be happy to help in their own way.
You're right about it. There's lots of great bass players around here, and they're definitely willing to help. And we all need subs sometimes, so we
Yeah.
need good bass players. And I think the bass playing community is pretty healthy community.
Yes. Yeah.
What would you recommend for other bass players to practice on a daily basis? You were talking about your daily or
Mhm.
weekly routine. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah,
What do
sure.
you think it's important?
So right now, it's like because we're playing fretless instruments, the intonation is, it will always be a problem if you're not, you know, if you're not putting any attention or effort in, fixing that. So especially like even myself, like yeah, when I solo, sometimes I focus too much on the rhythm that sometimes I forget my left hand. Oh, it's coming down because the upright bass, it's the gravity will just pull your hand down. If you don't put any effort on anchoring your thumb there, it's like it will just pull you down, and then wait, where am I now? So do it like I would do scales as slow as I could, just to hear actual notes. Because when you start slow, it's easier to go like fast. So, and when you start slow, you're actually like you'll develop your muscle memory. It's like trying to know where it is. And for me, when like first like starting, it's better not to get used to looking at your left hand, because actually it should be more of like, yeah, the muscle memory, like actually getting familiar with the fingerboard. And from that, like, yeah, you have to get a teacher or someone who can really help you with that, because sometimes it's just hard to like figure it out unless it's uh like it's like a natural for you to do. But yeah, so do scales regular basis, like slow, and then till like wherever you know the note is, and always try to remember, okay, what note am I playing, and then train your left hand separately first, doing scales and then just blocking it. And then what I would do, sometimes I would just mute the strings and then just slowly, just like quarter notes, and then just go faster and faster and faster till like as relaxed as possible. And if you have a metronome, that also helps, because it helps you develop your own, like your pulse in your system, you know because uh if you're not like being a bass player, it's like you're actually merging the harmony and the rhythm, like the drummers and the actual harmony. You're the you're the link in between, so you have to be as solid as possible in terms of your time. So yeah, working with the metronome, and then just like once you're done with your right hand, and then combine them, and then gradually going like moving faster and faster until like and then just be as relaxed as possible.
So do you recommend like a practicing with a metronome? Huh?
Yes, it's like
Okay.
I do recommend, because yeah, I do it helps you a lot, in terms of like being solid. Yeah. And also like for example, in the like it still depends on the music that you play. But if you have if you got used to a metronome, it'll come naturally. And then it's now up to you if you want to be right in the pocket, or a little laid back, or a little forward. So it depends on the music. But at least you have that, you have the basis of, it's like this is a pulse.
Do you recommend putting it on on each quarter note, or 2 and 4, or 1 and 3? What do you do?
I do it. I do it in every quarter note, and then tap 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 tap. Yeah, I'll do it in every quarter note. And also, when you do it in quarter notes, now you can, once you have that locked in you, you can play around. Syncopate stuff, and then combine different rhythms, like play around, and then at the same time you still hear that in the back of your head, like the quarter notes, the pulse, and then yeah, it's easier to play
Hear the click.
around. What's that?
You hear the click.
Yeah, you hear the click.
Um, you had a kind of like long, I wouldn't say long, but like a different music careers. I mean, in different countries. You started in Manila, then you moved to Abu Dhabi, now you're in Los Angeles. What would you say how things changed for you in those different places? Those are completely different markets and different cultures, different sets of mind. Um, w- can you compare the audience in these different places? And what do you think? How did the audience, your audience,
Yeah.
changed? Since '99 when you started playing bass.
hmm Actually, in terms like the audience, I would say it's easier to play to impress, and not impress, but it's easier to please. Let's say please the crowd here in the U.S. compared to you know in the Philippines, because in the Philippines, actually in the Philippines, there's a lot of musicians, and they're a little snobbish, and they're like, "What are you doing?" It's like, hey, is that a cello? It's like they would make fun of you. They would make fun of you. It's like, what are you wearing? Why are you wearing a suit? Are you a lawyer or something? And so there's always that is some sort of mentality, which is sad. But not everyone. But it's always tough to please the crowd in the Philippines. Especially with like with the what are you playing? This old man's music. It's like, hey. So what I learned from there is like it's like for me just to like just enjoy what I want to do, and not it's like not even care what they think about me. So what I developed there is like I want to be in the Philippines. I want to be unique. I want to play this. So but in the UAE, because yeah, most of the crowd that we play for, they're like like Europeans and British people. Hardly any like locals go to our gig. So they know the music, so it's like they're happy. So finally, someone's playing swing music here. It's like we get, and actually we were able to build a swing dance community there. So in terms of like learning, like I would say I learned different terminologies with because I was teaching in the British school. So they have like quavers, semi-quavers, minim. So those are like the things that I learned like in terms of music. And uh yeah, I got busy, yeah, with a big band. I played a lot of like big band stuff there. So like compared like how much big band stuff I was doing in the Philippines, I developed like playing more in like in Abu Dhabi, like doing big band stuff. And actually when I moved here, this is where I actually start learn. So I'm a late learner. So I would, when I was in the Philippines, I would learn. So it's like I would just see what you guys, what's posted in YouTube or like in the internet. I would learn it on my own and then try to figure out, am I doing it right? And no, nobody's actually correcting me because there's no band in the Philippines that were like doing the same stuff. So nobody could give me an advice on anything. So it's when I moved here, it's when I started to learn stuff. It's like from different bands, and it felt it's like finally it's like for me I felt at home in terms of the music. It's like this is where I'm learning now. This is where I'm learning. This is where I'm developing my stuff. Yeah, when I moved to LA, and then yeah, it's still a continuous learning.
Never ends. That's the beauty
Yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Do you teach?
yes. Not as much I used to teach when I was in I had like students back in Abu Dhabi, and I had a few here, but here and there it's like I never get to like, okay, like let's have a lesson, and you know, like, yeah.
What's the best way for people to get in touch with you if they want to get a lesson from Lakshmi?
Uh, Probably you can, yeah, you can reach out through Instagram. Yeah,
All right, here's the
Lakshmi,
handle
Lakshmi
somewhere over
Days.
there.
Yeah, there you go.
um, all Lakshmi's links are in the description of this video, so make sure to follow him. Make sure to get in touch with Lakshmi if you want to get a
Right.
lesson.
Yeah.
Um, as far as recording of we haven't talked about it. What is the how do you record your bass? Do you have like a special tips and tricks?
Yeah, so actually I did a recording just recently. The most recent recording I did it with Pot of Gold and Santa Ana. He said he recorded quite a lot of bass, upright bass. He was like so happy with the sound of my bass acoustically, because it was just like, it was like loud. It was clear. Yeah, all the notes were clear. So we just used two microphones. One was I'm not even sure what it's called, but it was placed in between the F hole and the bridge in that corner, and then one just by my on top of my tailpiece, and then one they just, you know, for the sake of just because they have a lot of like channels, they got a line from my Underwood pickup. So the when I heard it was really good. And then uh yeah, it's just basically, I remember I even recorded. There was a time they had uh they had one mic in front of my bridge, and one by the F hole, and then there was just one just on top of my fingerboard, just to get the sound of, you know, me sliding my fingers, just to get the sound. It's actually sounded well too, because of, you can hear the buzz in this, like, made it really natural. And then it didn't sound like some sort of like a sample or anything. It made it really, you know, it's like as raw as possible, but at the same time you have the bottom and the clearness of the highs and the mids. So yeah, it's like, if you could go with mic, just go with mic if you have a good setup. But of course, it really depends on the kind of music that you're playing. So yeah, for me, it's just like, if you can come as natural as the sound as natural as possible, to aim for that. Yeah.
When you tour, when you do like flying gigs or stuff like that, do you try do you bring your own bass, or you usually rely on the backline?
Yeah, when we did tours in Asia, so I would, you know, I would uh the first one, because I'm not sure. Yeah, when we did the Hong Kong tour, I had to bring my own bass.
Mhm.
So yeah, I had like a,
Were you flying with it?
yeah, I flew with it. So, but it was in a big wooden box. You know, it's like I
Like a
had it
flight
like
case?
yeah, like a flight case, but it was like a DIY flight case that you had to.
Ah,
It was heavy. You know, I remember because we even took the train with that case. It was like, it
oh,
was, you know, it
it's a
was hard.
nightmare. Huh?
Yeah, it was a nightmare. And then when we did the Thailand festival, they provided the bass, but it was like, I regretted that, because, you know, you never know what strings you're gonna end up with, what sound, what pickup, and what's the height of your string. So
That's what I wanted to ask you. So if you play someone else's bass on one of those festivals, do you adjust anything? Do you put your own strings, your own pickup, bridge, or you just play the way it is?
yeah, after that happened, because I wasn't able, the bridge wasn't adjustable, so
Mhm.
I had to, you know, I had to play. So I ended up, like, you know, like tearing my fingers. I was like bleeding already. So, and the strings were like steel, that was, the tension was just difficult. So from there, it's like I made sure I just brought my bass, because I didn't have, you know, I'm not sure why didn't I even thought of like just bringing the strings. So it's like I just brought my bass. But now what I do, yeah, I had my other K converted to a removable neck.
Oh,
So
cool. Who
yeah,
did that?
this guy, his name is El Checo. He's like
Ah, okay.
Facebook name is El Checo, so he does a lot of like repairs. He lives in Orange.
Okay.
He does a lot of like rockabilly, psychobilly basses. You know.
Okay. And so he's converting regular bases to into travel
Yes, yeah,
bases.
yeah, yeah. So I think I was the first, customer that he had, but it turned out really good.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so and then I
You like
got
to
a
check it
fight
out?
with some, FMI, those corrugated plastic ones. They're really
Mhm.
light. I'm surprised, and then they held up. They were like tough. Yeah.
Nice. Um, do you have a special way of warming up before starting the show? Do you warm
Same.
up at all?
Oh, sorry.
Do you warm up at all before the show?
Yes. My warm up is actually my drive from Lancaster now. So I do warm up. Of course, like if I know that I didn't play for quite some time, I make sure that I warm up before the gig. But I know it's like, oh, because like I gig almost like every day. So sometimes like, yeah, I don't get to warm up. But if there's a need for me to warm up, yeah, I do warm up. Just right hand and like the left hand. Same thing that what I do at home. Just like start slow, just loosening up everything. Yeah.
When you create your own bass lines, do you have what is the process? What are you thinking about? Like when you really have to think about the kind of like compose it, not just like playing it on the spot. Um,
Uh-huh.
do you
So
have?
when I create the baseline, so first it's like I will think like, yeah, you have to consider what kind of, what does it require, in terms of like if it's a swing. So of course, I have to play like quarter notes, and then but what are the notes that I'll run, just doing the quarter notes. So for example, let's say I'll do swing. Yeah, of course you have to consider what chord am I playing. I just to be safe, like you'll just play the root, and then to spell out if it's a major, minor, you'll do the third or whatever. But of course, you don't want it to be that boring, or it's like, so I would, like I would just combine and spell out the chords and not in order. But
Mhm.
if something that requires like a different rhythm, you know, I would think like, how does drummer, how will he play the drums for this one? So I would compliment, or I would, sometimes it's either I would go with him or I will go against him. So I would, it's like, if he's,
Do you mind like explaining that a little bit more?
yeah.
Like when
So
you
if
say
he's,
against the drummer?
yeah, if he's solid, like you have a solid uh backbeat, you have a solid quarter notes, and then you have a rhythm guitar that's solid. I will not play quarter notes. I
Mhm.
would play, sorry, this is your, they're playing this, dun, 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 dun. That will be my bass line. I will counter it. That dun 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 dun, dun. I go dun 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 dun, dun, dun,
Mhm.
so if they're locked in with the quarter note, I would play differently. But if it needs, if they're playing something that's, it lacks that quarter note, like I would play the quarter note. So it really depends.
All right, I think it's time for you to play one more.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'll try something. It's
All right. All right. All right. I think I have one more question. But before I ask you this question, is there anything else that I might have forgotten to ask you or something they would like to mention? Now's the time.
Oh, uh, I don't think. I don't think. I'm just, I'm just thankful that, it's like all the musicians, all the bass players that they're like happy to help each other. Especially what all the craziness is happening around us. It's just nice that forget all the politics, forget everything, just play music and just share the love and share what we know. And then through this whatever you're doing, it's like you're connecting the entire world, all the bass players, like it's like it's nice that there's this platform that you're doing. It's like people are like, hey, is it the weekend, like who is Djordje featuring this time. It gives like for example, me, I'm a viewer, you gave me an opportunity to like to share what the least that I know. It's like I remember when you call like, hey, do you want to be interviewed, like, wait, I don't think I'll be, I don't know anything that I could really share. If for me it's like, for me it's more of like learning from you guys. So thank you for giving like everyone like a chance.
Of course. And thank you for being a part of the Slapstream family. And my last question for you is uh, you had like a pretty long and successful career. What inspired you to still do what you do?
uh I think by seeing and by watching different musicians, different bands, it's like it inspires me to, it's like to go out there. Even though being a musician is, it takes a lot of guts and risk, and a lot of understanding. It's like it's not like you go and you have to be a hustler. You have to keep on like looking for stuff. So what motivates me is just like the feeling of seeing the crowd, like pleasing them. They came from work, they're so tired, and they want to hear bands, and then you're there as a musician, letting their problems just fly from their temporarily, hopefully like for a very long time, and seeing their faces. And yeah, everything around, like the community of musicians, community of like fans and friends, supporters of the band, that actually that motivates. Of course, the family. It's like my daughter plays the Barry sax sousaphone, and it's like I want to set an example to her. So it's like, hey, actually at first I was like, are you sure you want to be a musician? I was like, I don't want to hide things from her. It's like I want her to be aware so she can actually, you know, decide. But she's really decided to be a musician, like professionally. So that also motivates me. It's like I want to prove to her. It's like, it's like as long as you're doing your best, and you're doing everything, you're making people happy, and it's like do it. That's your contribution as in the society. Make everyone happy, entertain them. Yeah, so that motivates me.
Absolutely. Family,
Yeah,
daughters. That's
yeah.
that's a good motivation in music. Thanks so much again. Thanks for being a part of the Slap stream, for joining me here in Slapsville. I can't wait to hear you play somewhere soon, and sometime soon, somewhere
Yeah,
close.
we haven't really actually like met personally, but
Yeah,
like, yeah, thanks for even like, yeah, giving your time. Yeah.
of course. So, are there any gigs that you would like to announce?
Yeah, so we have, yeah,
Where
the
can
we
people
start.
find out about your gigs? What is the best way to find out?
I would actually, when another thing, when you were asking, like, how I was able to get gigs. I think social media helped me a lot. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of like pros and cons of social media, but it made us, like, for example, for musician, it made us like, before it's like you have to have your own website. Now it's like you have your personal or your musician page or whatever, like, in Instagram or Facebook. You'll just post things there, and then people see you, and then hey, he's busy, you know. He looks busy, so we might as well get him because he's probably he's probably a good bass player because he's busy. People are getting him, you know. It helped me a lot, like, you know, with social media. So yeah, I was posting a lot, you know. It's like all my gigs back then, like during, before, and after gigs, so I would post stuff there. Now yeah, I still post like upcoming gigs, so I do like a weekly sort of, you know. It's like, hey, I have this gig for, you know, for this band this week, and I would put details, Facebook and Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, please keep doing that so we all can find out where to see you play. Thanks again. Good luck with
Thank you.
everything, and can't wait to see you play
You
somewhere,
too, you too. How
shows
about
or
you? What's
somewhere
your
around here.
next gig?
Well, my next gig probably gonna be, as far as public gigs go, is the one with Bernie Dressel. Actually,
Ah,
it's, I forgot where it is.
is it
It's
in vibrato?
I'm gonna play vibrato with him as well, but I believe that vibrato is in November. But I'm playing
Mhm.
somewhere in October with him too.
Okay.
I forgot where it is. I think it's some
Yeah.
kind of big band festival or something. But
Okay.
it's jazz
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It should be fun.
Yeah.
We'll see. All
Yeah.
right, cool, man. Thanks
Thank
again.
you. Thank
Keep
you.
in touch, and
Thank you.
then I'll see you sometime soon.
Yeah, you take care.
All right, you too.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, that was 61st episode of the Slapstream with Djordje, live from Slapsville. Thanks for all of you that have been watching. Thanks a lot to Lakshmi. If you are not following Lakshmi, make sure to go to the description of this video to follow him. And if you're not following me, make sure to do that as well. And the most important, follow Art of Slap Bass on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. If you haven't subscribed to my channel and you like Slap Bass, and you would like to support my work, make sure to click that subscribe button and slap that like button. That's going to help me rule the. That's going to help Slap Bass rule the YouTube. Besides that, if you really would like to support my work, go to description of the video and sign up for the Patreon. I do monthly updates and lots of cool perks. And if you'd like to donate, check out Venmo and PayPal link as well. Also in the description of this video, and also the link. Some of you asked me where they can get this T-shirt. All the Art of Slap Bass T-shirts, including this one, different colors. Check out the link in the description of this video. So everything is down there. And if you have a recommendation, who should I feature next, please write it down under the video. Don't write in these comments on the left side. For the live chat comments, please write them down under the video because I can really check them out. And don't forget, never fret, slide it in smooth and keep it in a groove. I'm Djordje, and I'll see you next Saturday.